Good evening. I'd ask that everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Good evening and welcome to the Tuckahoe Police Department's annual award ceremony, where we honor the men and women of this department that went above and beyond to exhibit diligence, intuition, and skill during the performance of their routine duties this past year. There is no better time to acknowledge the efforts of our officers than that of Police Week, a time to reflect and appreciate the services police officers in Tuckahoe and across our nation offer, and the risk each and every one of them take putting on the uniform. I think it's fair to state that there isn't a career or occupation that is more scrutinized, analyzed, and dissected than that of law enforcement. Police officers, like the ones that stand before you this evening, are dedicated to protecting the citizens they serve, and more importantly, displaying the professionalism and integrity this uniform expects and deserves. It is with great appreciation and honor that Chief Costanzo, Lieutenant Rhoda, and myself stand before you tonight to highlight the fine work of our officers and share in their accolades with friends, family, and the Tuckahoe community. This evening, the Tuckahoe Police Department will recognize and commend the performance of officers based on the following categories and criteria. These events have been reviewed and voted on by an awards committee of their peers and supervisors. The Exceptional Merit Award, the Meritorious Police Duty Award, Excellent Police Duty Certificate, the Certificate of Commendation, and Officer Recognition Award. Before we get started, I'd like to ask Chief Costanzo to say a few words.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I would like to thank everyone that came here tonight in support of our police officers and our department. I'd like to thank the family members that are here, our mayor, Greg Luisi, our deputy mayor, Daniel Lang, our trustees, Renee Howell and Myra Andino. Thank you for coming. Your support is so much appreciated. We come here, as we do every single year during Police Week, to recognize those members of the department that are worthy of special recognition. Very proud of all of their accomplishments, particularly the ones that they are receiving awards tonight, but also their everyday duties, what they do for our citizens on a day in and day out basis. I was wondering and I was thinking about how I could explain some of the things that we do, some of the things that are not necessarily the public would be aware of. So I thought that I would take a snapshot of the last week or so and just go over all the things that we had done this last week leading up, and including Police Week. So we'll start off with last Wednesday. Members of the newly formed traffic unit issued 19 citations for violators who failed to yield to pedestrians. At the same time, 3 motorcycle officers were enforcing aggressive drivers and cell phone violations. Later that day, members of the Detective Division and the Bronxville, Eastchester, Scarsdale, Tuckahoe Drug and Alcohol Task Force made 2 prostitution arrests at a business, My Wonderful Spa, located at 111 Lake Avenue. Following the arrests, the business is now shut down. The same day, a person in Depot Square was arrested for criminal possession of illegal narcotics. Early yesterday, 2 businesses on Main Street and a residential garage on Lake Avenue were burglarized. The same perpetrator stole a car from the garage to flee from members of our patrol and several other police agencies who were searching for him. Detective Pinto was called in through the middle of the night, and working with investigators from jurisdictions from Westchester and New York City, identified the subject, executed a search warrant at his home in the Bronx, and arrested him earlier today. This past week, Field Intelligence Officer for Counterterrorism, Sergeant Vincent Pinto, participated in the Red Team counterterrorism prevention and deterrence exercise throughout Westchester and Putnam counties. Police Officer Evan Piasta taught DARE in the Tuckahoe schools this past Monday. Earlier this week, I was joined by Lieutenant Zerolnik and Lieutenant Rhoda at an executive training conference in Purchase on contemporary police issues, including constitutional law and recent Supreme and federal appellate court decisions, New York State criminal justice legislative changes, and many other topics. Sergeant Batista is now, this week, training at the Westchester County Police Headquarters so he can participate in their real-time crime center. This initiative, spearheaded by the county police with the participation of all Westchester police departments, will disseminate crucial information obtained from databases, license plate readers, cameras, and multi-agency communication systems to cops on the street in real time. Also this week, Police Officer Brian Madden and Police Officer Zach Leone are attending a police mountain bike course up in Upper Westchester County. Police Officer Ashley Tessito is one of the instructors from the county providing this training. After this physically demanding week of training, Officers Madden and Leone will soon be joining our bike patrol unit to provide high visible, approachable, and effective means of patrol. Our members attended the Westchester County Police Memorial this past Thursday, our annual Police Memorial Service this past Saturday, the National Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, D.C. yesterday. This Saturday, we will be conducting our annual youth safety event at the Fisher Avenue parking lot. A busy week, but not that uncommon from previous ones. One that had our members solving and preventing crimes, teaching DARE in our schools, paying respects to our lost and fallen brothers and sisters, preventing terrorism, building bonds with our community, as well as training and learning to improve our department so that we may continue to provide the very best police services to our citizens. These and all of their accomplishments throughout the year, the special awards that you'll see tonight, is what makes me so very proud to lead this fine and distinguished group of men and women. I'm so very proud of their accomplishments, and I wish them Godspeed in the year to come. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll get started, and I'll call up the officers for each event. I'd like to call forward Detective Andrea Pinto, Officer Stephen Leone, Sergeant James Kennedy, and Officer Anthony Solano. On February 23rd at approximately 9 p.m., the Tuckahoe Police Department received a 911 call from a resident on Chestnut Street stating she was exiting the back door of her home and upon doing so, scared off a male who was believed to be looking into her home. Sergeant James Kennedy, along with Officer Stephen Leone and Anthony Solano, responded to the area to attempt to locate the male. While canvassing the neighborhood, Officer Leone found a male matching the description provided by the homeowner. The man had no identification and could not give a legitimate reason why he was in someone's backyard. He continued to be uncooperative, even attempting to flee from the officers at one point. The investigation continued, and officers were able to determine the man lived in Tuckahoe. The resident on Chestnut Street did wish to pursue criminal charges, and the male was consequently arrested. Detective Andrea Pinto was contacted regarding the case. Detective Pinto had multiple cases from earlier in the year with a similar fact pattern. In all these cases, women were alleging there was a man outside of their home looking into their window. To date, police response never was able to locate a man linked to these women's complaints. Detective Pinto spent countless hours interviewing all the women who made similar allegations over the last year. The descriptions given all seemed to be a close match to our current suspect. Photo arrays were put together by Detective Pinto in each case. The female victims all immediately identified the same male perpetrator. February's arrest led to 5 additional charges of criminal trespassing throughout our village. For their acts of performance of routine police duties in an outstanding and efficient manner, Sergeant James Kennedy, Detective Andrea Pinto, and Police Officer Stephen Leone and Anthony Solano are awarded the department's Excellent Police Duty Award. Congratulations. like to call forward Sergeant Vincent Pinto and Detective Sergeant Eduardo Batista. On March 23rd at approximately 10:15 p.m., our agency was informed by the Eastchester Police Department that a strong armed robbery had occurred at the mobile gas station on White Plains Road. The perpetrator was seen taking money from the cash register and fleeing on foot in a westerly direction, potentially towards Tuckahoe. A perimeter was set up, and all units began to assist Eastchester Police Department and canvass the area. Westchester County Police Department would assist with canine tracking and the aviation unit. A search of the suspect continued for nearly 2 hours with negative results. With the perimeter still intact, officers were confident the suspect was still hiding somewhere close by. Shortly after midnight, a resident of Hollywood Avenue called 911 to report that the suspect was passing through their backyard. Sergeant Batista had remained in this residential area in an unmarked police car and quickly approached. Upon turning onto Monroe Street, Sergeant Batista observed a male fitting the description of the robbery suspect as he popped out in between two homes. Sergeant Batista radioed for backup, and Sergeant Vincent Pinto quickly arrived. A brief struggle ensued, and the suspect was taken into custody by Sergeant Batista and Sergeant Pinto. For their acts of performance of routine police duties in an outstanding and efficient manner, Sergeant Batista and Sergeant Pinto awarded the department's Excellent Police Duty Award. Congratulations. I'd like to call up Officer Francisco Ramirez and Officer Stephen McCann. On April 22nd at approximately 11 o'clock p.m., the Tuckahoe Police Department received a call of a suspicious vehicle illegally parked on Sagamore Road for an extended period of time. Officer Francisco Ramirez and Officer Stephen Leone were dispatched to investigate. The vehicle began to pull away as officers approached. Officers Ramirez and McCann stopped the vehicle and began to interview the operator. The female driver appeared very nervous and was fumbling in her purse while attempting to locate her driver's license. Further, the driver continuously made hand motions towards her rear pants pocket as if she was attempting to conceal something. Officers Ramirez and McCann requested the operator exit the vehicle so they could further assess the situation. Both officers could sense the driver was trying to hide illegal contraband. Ramirez and McCann asked for consent to search the vehicle as well as the operator's purse, which she initially refused. After a narcotics canine was set to respond, the operator of the vehicle changed her mind and gave consent for the officers to search. Bronxville Police Officer Ulrich was also called to assist. Inside the operator's purse was multiple glass vials and glassine envelopes filled with white powder, known as later determined as ketamine. A search incident to arrest revealed more vials of ketamine, which the suspect had attempted to hide on her person. For their acts of performance of routine police duties in an outstanding and efficient manner, Officer Stephen McCann and Francisco Ramirez are awarded the department's Excellent Police Duty Award. Congratulations. I'd like to call up Detective Sergeant Batista and Officer Stephen Leone. That's what he said. Over the summer of 2018, the Tuckahoe Police Department received complaints from various residents of the Stanford Gardens housing community that they were observing an increase in drug activity throughout the area. Detective Sergeant Batista and Officer Leone were assigned a surveillance detail to monitor the activity. On July 5th at approximately 9 p.m., officers observed two males repeatedly entering and exiting a parked vehicle and acting in a suspicious manner. One male continued to move items around the back seat of the car almost as if he was stowing or hiding items, while the other male cautiously stood alongside as a lookout. The males did not seem to have any legitimate business and were acting in ways consistent with someone selling narcotics out of a vehicle. After some time had elapsed, the two men got back into the vehicle and unsafely drove reverse down the roadway. Detective Sergeant Batista and Officer Leone had the vehicle stopped for a traffic violation and an opportunity to further investigate what the men were up to. Observed in plain view were multiple open beer bottles that were being consumed by the occupants and a strong odor of marijuana emanating from the vehicle. Both occupants were removed from the vehicle. Behind the driver's side seat, officers observed a yellow-colored shopping bag which appeared to be filled with pills. The bag was removed, and inside it was two large Ziplocs filled with 110 grams of cocaine, as well as a large quantity of regulated prescription pills. The two males were placed under arrest, and an inventory search of the vehicle was conducted. Officers removed multiple vials of steroids, an additional Ziploc bag filled with cocaine, and $4,568 of cash, which was stored in a sock located in the trunk of the vehicle. A search of one of the male's person incident to arrest revealed 72 more regulated prescription pills located in his pants pocket, as well as rolled up money which had cocaine residue. Both males were arrested and charged with a Class B felony drug possession charge, as well as multiple felony intent to sell charges. For their acts of outstanding police duty, intelligently performed, demonstrating special faithfulness and performance of duty, Detective Sergeant Batista and Officer Stephen Leone are awarded the Department's Meritorious Police Duty Award. Congratulations. The following award is for Officer Brian Madden and Officer Daniel Coughlin, who were unable to attend this evening, but I will read it out. On July 24th at approximately 8:30 a.m., the Tuckahoe Police Department received a 911 call from a resident on Midland Place stating she could hear her neighbor screaming for help in the apartment next door. Officers Daniel Coughlin and Brian Madden were dispatched to further investigate. Upon arrival, officers attempted to make contact with the distressed tenant, but nobody was answering the door. Further, they found the door to be locked. Officers Madden and Coughlin quickly obtained a key from the building super. They made entry into the apartment and found the aided lying on the ground by the entryway, unresponsive and in respiratory distress. Based on their observations and training, Officers Madden and Coughlin administered Narcan, a potential life-saving remedy for opioid overdose. The female immediately began to show signs of life and once again became responsive to first responders. For their skillful and exceptionally quick actions, Officer Madden and Coughlin are awarded the Department's Excellent Police Duty Award. Congratulations. I'd like to call forward Officer Anthony Solano, Officer Stephen Leone, and Officer Stephen Leone. That's right. On September 8th at approximately 5:15 p.m., Officer Anthony Solano was on routine patrol traveling on Marbledale Road when he observed a suspicious vehicle parked in the lot of an industrial business. Officer Solano was convinced the establishment was closed, so he circled back around to further investigate. Upon approaching the vehicle, Officer Solano observed two males standing in the alleyway alongside the establishment. One male could be seen attempting to pass an object believed to be a vaping pen back to the other male in order to conceal it from the police view. Officer Solano requested backup and Officer Stephen Leone quickly arrived on scene. Both males were immediately separated in order to further investigate the situation. Officer Solano questioned the first male as to his reason for being at the location and further inquired about the vaping device that he stuffed in his pants pocket. The male eventually cooperated and admitted he was in possession of liquid concentrated cannabis, which he and his friends were smoking upon officers' arrival. While Officer Leone was interviewing and identifying the second male, P.O. Leone observed multiple out-of-state licenses in the subject's wallet. It was determined these IDs were all fake and used for fraudulent purposes. Both men were arrested, one charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance and the other possession of forged instrument. For their keen observation and performance of routine police duties in an outstanding and efficient manner, Officers Anthony Solano and Officer Stephen Leone are awarded the department's Excellent Police Duty Award. Congratulations. I'd like to call forward Detective Sergeant Eduardo Batista and Detective Andrea Pinto. On July 15th, the Tuckahoe Police Department took a report from a female complainant who stated she was fraudulently scammed of $5,000 in cash. The complainant explained she met a male on a dating website known as Plenty of Fish, some weeks back and had an ongoing phone and email conversation. The male was said to be a Chase Bank manager and could offer banking incentives if the female agreed to open a new account with him. The female finally agreed to do so and was set to meet the male in the Main Street lot alongside the Chase Bank in Tuckahoe. The female was told to bring $5,000 in cash, which would be allegedly deposited into the new account. On the date and time of the transaction, the male claimed he was running late in a meeting and his assistant would be out to collect the money for him until he could finish up his meeting. The female complainant complied and handed over $5,000 in cash to the assistant, who was wearing a Chase Bank uniform at the time. The assistant stated she would bring the money to the manager for him to open the account and he would return outside shortly later to meet her. Substantial time elapsed and nobody returned. The female walked over to the Chase Bank only to find that it was closed for the day. Detective Sergeant Batista and Detective Andrea Pinto were assigned the case and began their investigation. Following published crime pattern bulletins and news stories, our detectives contacted several other agencies who had similar crimes occur. Our department, too, had several cases with similar elements. Detectives from numerous municipalities began to work together and share their information with one another. After weeks of investigating, which included a significant amount of undercover surveillance, Detective Sergeant Batista and Detective Andrea Pinto, as well as their team, were able to determine the identity of the male ringleader who orchestrated this extensive scam, as well as his accomplices who acted as the Chase Bank assistants. Months had passed as Tuckahoe detectives, as well as detectives from countless other agencies in both New York and New Jersey, followed the suspects, waiting for them to target another victim. In December of 2018, the investigation concluded as the suspects were caught and arrested in Teaneck, New Jersey, while in commission of another crime. The male suspect, who had family ties in Tuckahoe, was charged with multiple counts of felony grand larceny and scheme to defraud. He is responsible for scamming nearly $15,000 of money from victims here in Tuckahoe, as well as over $50,000 combined in jurisdictions across Westchester County, New York City, and towns in New Jersey. He is currently serving a 4 to 6 year sentence for the New York offenses and awaits further sentencing in New Jersey. For their acts of outstanding police duty, intelligently performed, demonstrating special faithfulness and performance of duty, Detective Sergeant Batista and Detective Andrea Pinto are awarded the department's Meritorious Police Duty Award. Congratulations. I'd like to call up Officer Michael Gutman. It is customary each year that we honor a specialized unit of the department whose members go beyond expectation and devote a lot of time, energy, and care to enhance our agency. This year, we wish to acknowledge just one police officer, Officer Michael Gutman, for his diligence, attentiveness, and consideration while maintaining the department's fleet. Officer Gutman has a mechanical knack since his days in the U.S. military, and since joining our agency in 2004, Mike has spent countless hours making sure police vehicles were safe and kept to the highest of standards. Whether it is scheduling inspections, rotating tires, changing decals, or having bodywork done, Mike doesn't miss a beat. He is Assistant Lieutenant Roto with the Fleet Management for many years now, and he is a major reason why the costs are kept to a minimum and our fleet looks as sharp as it does today. The Tuckahoe Police Department wishes to thank Officer Michael Gutman for all his work and dedication tending to our vehicles and award you with a certificate of appreciation for your service. Congratulations. It is now time to honor the Officer Recognition Award for an outstanding police officer, which we do on an annual basis. I'd like to call up Officer Christopher Harris. The Tuckahoe Police Department Officer Recognition Award for Outstanding Officer is given annually to recognize patrol officers for their outstanding work within their positions. The nominee has to be dedicated to their job, the department, and the village of Tuckahoe. This officer must have demonstrated consistent professional performance at an exceptional level, possess solid character, along with work ethic in sync with the definition of the department's mission statement, to protect the quality of life in partnership with those we serve. The recipient of the Officer Recognition Award for 2018 is Officer Christopher Harris. Officer Harris has consistently demonstrated a strong level of professionalism and his equally matched desire to help people around him. Officer Harris is organized and always prepared to take on the day's responsibilities. Since joining the department in 2016, Chris has quickly earned the admiration of his peers and community members. His quiet demeanor may often go unnoticed, but his presence on the street transforms into respect. Chris is a proactive police officer and one of the department's leaders in traffic enforcement. He was recently selected to the Traffic Safety Unit, where he makes it his priority that vehicular and pedestrian traffic in Tuckahoe remains safe. Officer Harris is a field training officer where he is relied on to teach our newest police officers the department's policies and procedures, but more importantly, lead by example and act as a role model. We are hopeful that our newest police officers can pick up on Chris's skills, experience, and his good nature. Officer Harris continues to enhance his training and seek opportunities to evolve as a police officer. His demeanor, skill set, and positivity is always appreciated. His character reflects that of a true professionalism, and the Tuckahoe Police Department is proud to honor him this evening. Congratulations. That concludes the events portion of the ceremony. Would Mayor Louisi like to say a few words? Sure.
Good evening, everyone. I would just like to acknowledge the family members, because when your loved ones go out to work, I know you're going out to work with them. So thank you. And just think, if these officers weren't in the wrong place at the right time, we can only surmise what would have occurred with these perpetrators that they arrested. So thank you for all the work that you do here to keep Tuckahoe safe. I'm going to piggyback off of what the chief said. He's proud to be the chief of the Tuckahoe Police Department because of the men and women that wear that badge. I'm proud to be the mayor, and I'm sure I speak for my fellow board members that we are proud to have you here in Tuckahoe. Be safe. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That concludes this evening's awards ceremony. I would like to thank our elected officials, friends and family of the Tuckahoe Police Department for joining us. I personally wish to express my appreciation for the outstanding professional services our officers have displayed, not only on the events mentioned this evening, but on a daily basis. We are all very proud of you. We welcome you all to join us for some refreshments in the hallway.